Smile, Bengals fans, because it is official. Joe Burrow has signed his 5-year, $275 million extension. Hear from Joe on the deal, on his path to this moment, why he's such a believer in the Bengals organization, and why he was involved in the process to make sure that they had enough resources to keep key players. Hi again, everyone, and welcome in to Cincinnati Bengals Talk. What a week it has been, and yes, the start of the regular season, less than 24 hours away, depending on when you see this, but most likely less than 24 hours away, and that means hotel videos, which if you watched this channel last year, of course, we've had to do our fair share of those. This being one of them because it was a huge, huge day in Bengals history. Joe Burrow put pen to paper, signed his 5-year extension with the team, and you're going to hear from him multiple clips that I thought were really, really interesting and certainly noteworthy. Let's start with Joe Burrow and his celebration. When you sign a 5-year, $275 million deal or agree to terms, that is noteworthy. Here's what Joe had to say about his celebration and how he celebrated the record-setting deal.
Take a deep breath, celebrate for about 5 minutes, and then you continue about your weekly process. You know, it's game week, so you got to get ready to play.
That clip and every clip you see in this video, courtesy of Bengals.com. I know they have a ton of Joe Burrow content coming your way, so you can check them out on social as well. It's a huge, huge time for the franchise, and that's the most Joe Burrow celebration ever. I joked, I was on Spectrum News earlier after the deal got agreed to, and I said, look, he probably played some video games, smiled, and watched film. And it sounds pretty much exactly what Joe Burrow did. Obviously, the team traveling to Cleveland later this afternoon on Saturday for Sunday's game. But a couple more things, because I think when this deal got agreed to, there was a concern when the numbers came out. And I know we don't have all of the minute details and how it's structured and all of those things. But how are they going to keep T? How are they going to keep Jamar Chase? How are they going to keep key guys around Joe Burrow? He was asked about that earlier today, and I thought his answer was certainly interesting because clearly the vision is to keep key pieces around Joe. Yeah,
that was important to me, and that was part of the reason I was involved, to make sure that would happen. Yeah, I've been involved the whole time. Wanted to make sure that things were going smoothly, make sure that things were on the right path.
The person that negotiated this contract with Joe Burrow's agent was none other than Katie Blackburn. And watching this news conference, and unfortunately I couldn't be there, just it's how it is with schedule and this close to the season and all of those things. But when Joe was asked about Katie and her role, and I think Olivia Ray of WLWT asked this question, really, really interesting answer, and it led to a follow-up as well where narratives about the Bengals should be put to bed. I thought that was a good answer by Joe, but certainly the fact that he wants to stay here for the next 7 years and beyond.
Katie was awesome. She does a lot behind the scenes for this organization that nobody ever hears about. The Brown family is very instrumental in what we do here, and they don't like the spotlight, and that's how they want it. But to shed a little light on that, they've done a lot for this community, done a lot for me, done a lot for this team, done a lot for Zach. And so I'm eternally grateful to them, excited that I get to work with them for the next 7 years and hopefully a lot longer.
There was questions before the draft over whether there was enough invested in the franchise by the front office in order for them to be successful. What did you make of that, and what have you seen to kind of maybe dispel kind of that notion?
Yeah, like I said, once we had that meeting, I was bought in, saw the kind of people that I was going to be working with, and I think the last several years have, if anybody had any of those questions, I think that's put to bed.
I think the other interesting part of this is Joe Burrow's journey and path. The path from him being a star in Athens to not playing at Ohio State for 3 years, to having to transfer, to that first year at LSU being rocky, to a record-setting final season with the Tigers, winning a national championship, being the number 1 pick, and now the highest paid player in the NFL. I thought this was just really good advice and just a must-hear, must-listen for anyone that is interested in Joe Burrow, because obviously his rise has happened really quickly, and he's responded the right way throughout.
You're just always so cool, calm, and collected. Where does that come from?
Yeah, I think I've kind of always been that way, but really honed that in those 3 years that I was talking about at Ohio State, when things never just felt like nothing was ever going my way. Those 3 years, and you really, like I said, learn a lot about yourself, and you have to be mentally tough in that situation. Otherwise, you're not going to come out the other side. And I continued to improve during that time. I had, again, great coaches and great teammates around me to, really during that time leaned on relationships in the locker room to help get through that, and cherish those relationships to this day because of that.
Because of the NCAA rules, you have to wait to be a grant transfer to leave. That being said, are you happy in a way that the portal didn't exist when you were there?
I wouldn't change my life, my story for anything. You never know how it's going to work out if one thing's different. And people come into your life for a lot of different reasons, and things happen to you for a lot of different reasons, and it's all about how you respond to it, how you adapt to it, and how you grow from it.
More kids go through those 3 years that you went through at Ohio State. More kids don't ever see the field, and then they wind up being the star. With your story, what's your message to those kids out there who don't get their chance?
You just got to wake up the next day and go back at it. That's all you can do. You can't get too emotional. You can't. You're going to get emotional. You're going to get upset, but the only thing you can do is wake up the next day and go back to work.
You can check out that entire news conference. The Bengals will post that. I know they had it on Twitter. I'm sure they'll have it up on their YouTube feed. Speaking of YouTube, our YouTube feed has been loaded with content all throughout the week, from Ted Karras to Irv Smith Jr., Orlando Brown Jr., interviews with all of them. I'm Evan McPherson coming later today on Saturday. My game preview, Bengals-Browns. There is a game tomorrow that you should check out as well. That posted this morning. So hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and we're going to have you covered all game long, all day long on game day. Football season is here. Joe Burrow is signed. All is good in the world. Subscribe, ring the bell. And for Andrew Fox Miller, I'm James Rapien. Thank you so much for watching Cincinnati Bengals Talk.